absolute corker of a series. These guys, obviously, so much on the line for them, and you got to feel for Young and Beautiful. These guys have been like a kind of like a melting pot, a stew on the hob. The recipe keeps changing with the roster changes that come in for them, but they're under so much pressure that they need to produce a fantastic flavor at the end of the day. And fourth place is the only thing that they can really come out tasting like.
Man, you made me really hungry now.
You've already had food.
I'm not orgless and hungry though, so we're okay in this situation.
Very true, very true. They're in the other group. So, Bazooka Puppiez, Young and Beautiful. We're going to go on to Ilios, well, to kick things off. And fun little fact for you, unfortunately, I don't think Young and Beautiful have been able to win Ilios just yet.
No, but one thing worth touching on from last week as well is for Young and Beautiful, they played up against this on CIS Hope, in fact, directly on Well, and they got ran over by Unfixed for the most part. I think Shadowrun Soldier on Lighthouse didn't really do too much for them. Once he changed over to the Sombra, everything changed. We spoke a lot about that bird falling out of the sky. That's what Shadow's going to be looking for, picking up that Sombra, trying to run it in. We've seen this a few times today already, just looking towards this Sombra Tracer. More and more teams are starting to play it. You see,
I think Promise is a little bit like Emperor Palpatine. He's kind of got that dark influence over his roster, and he changes his apprentice every couple of weeks, but ultimately, they always fall back to the dark side of Sombra.
Yes, yes.
So Shadow is eventually going to get better on that one, and hopefully it's enough to pull it out. But Darnier's already with the rockets on Farah, peppering against him. He spotted out the translocator. He knows exactly where Shadow's going to go back to. He's waiting for it.
That's a really risky place to be. In fact, the whole team is just grouped around it, so hopefully nothing too crazy coming out of him.
I think Shadow spotted it out, so he's not going to recall onto that one for his own good. They're onto the point already. A nice wraparound from Young and Beautiful to change the dimensions of the fight, make sure that they're pushing Bazooka Puppiez away from where they want them to be. One-on-one on the point at the moment, Young and Beautiful, they've got the war of attrition on lockdown for now. They're repositioning. Going for the direct in the air is a risky tactic, but he lands it as soon as Ben Best hits the floor as well. And Shadow going to translocate out with 3 members still on the point. He's starting to tick back towards Bazooka Puppiez. Nearly got an ultimate for Darnier. That barrage going to come up and create some clearance and make a more definitive victory for them.
I think they were very aware quite early on that was the big win condition for them, was going to be that Sombra, and you can see why, because without it, Forsaken's getting himself a kill, Darnier's picking him up as well. This is a really mistimed ult coming out of Shadow. Not sure why the EMP chose to came out here.
Unusual, I agree with you on that one, Des. Not much to capitalise up
Dempsey is cleaning up a bit.
Dempsey's not cleaning up enough though. If he was a maid, I would not tip him, because at the end of the day, they still end up with Bazooka Puppiez having that point.
Yeah, I think Shadow had to play super defensive there, because Puppiez walked on, saw that translocator and was like, right, he does not get near our Farah under any conditions, and he had to stay basically on his side of the well while the rest of his team were pushing inside the building.
And now Nesh on the point, going to cut down Ben Best as soon as he lands. Ben Best has a bit of a problem this game of landing and immediately dying. He's safest when he's in the air, and unfortunately Winston can only jump so high.
It's like playing clay pigeon or clay monkey shooting here. Every time he goes into the sky, it's a job for Bazooka Puppiez to try and kill him before he lands on the ground, and that's twice now they have managed to pull off that feat. Problem is when he's in the sky, you're not going to get much healing coming through from Ding, and you're taking the Moira for that exclusive reason. Either switch over to the Zen, take a Mercy, something to keep him alive, or you'd start playing a bit closer to the team because these aerial fights of his aren't playing off.
And I think you need a little bit more of a direct counter to Darnier. You're maybe looking for a bit of hit scan coming out, but Meza taking the kill onto Gustav, so Lucio's out of the field. Ben Best being targeted again by tanks and by the aerial support. Unfortunately, the rocket boosters fall short for Saini, as he's not going to be able to get up there into the face of Darnier.
Another reset coming through for Young and Beautiful. Shadow's been very quiet so far, bar that kind of questionable EMP. I can't really say you've seen him do anything of note so far in this round, and again, we don't want to pile all the pressure onto that guy, but he's the guy with the power in those creepy little fingers of his to hack that Farah out of the sky. However, Young and Beautiful have got 4 ults to play with, and matching up against 4 for Bazooka Puppiez. This next fight is sure to be one thing, Tridd, and it's going to be explosive.
Well, Shadow hopefully can get better EMPs, shut down any barrage, the sound barriers, so many counters in there to lock Bazooka Puppiez out of their resources they've accrued for themselves. Going to translocate into the front of the fight, get more damage on the machine pistol, and hopefully give himself that EMP.
Oh,
Hack comes out, he lands straight onto a pulse bomb from Nesh. Without Shadow on the board, Bazooka Puppiez, this is their go button. Sound barriers being dropped on either side. Darnier with the 2K, with that barrage, is being faced out by Saini, who's not still doesn't have the HP pool to fight against him because the Pocket Mercy going to keep him alive. This is Bazooka Puppiez, 99% and ticking. Make that 100. No contestion from Young and Beautiful. They clean sweep well.
It's difficult, really, because they took the comp that can deal with the Farah pretty well. They had the threat coming through from the Diva and the Sombra itself. Sombra, admittedly well handled by the side of Bazooka Puppiez. They always had an answer to whenever he was trying to blink in. Getting anywhere near that Farah was just not a possibility because it was always playing above his own team. So well handled. Shadow, you'd argue, could maybe have tried to be a bit more aggressive because, as said, the only thing we saw from him in pretty much all of that round was a single EMP.
It's just unfortunate timing at the end. They'd be taken out by Nesh's pulse bomb, so we couldn't get the second attempt, and maybe that could have turned the tide of the battle. But that's a case of a woulda, coulda, shatter moment for this one. So unfortunately, going to move on to Ruins, and I can see you shaking your head disapprovingly. That's how I know I got you.
That's me every day casting with you, mate, don't worry. Always disapproval of the terrible puns that come out of your mouth. Anyway, out of the gate, these two teams running forward again with the Sombra once more for Young and Beautiful. Got to deliver this time round, I feel. However, there is no Farah to hack out of the sky. They've got to deal with Nesh, and we spoke a lot about Widowmaker already over the last couple of days. The sight lines that it denies and forces the other team to play very closed in.
Well, they're all playing around the pillars just fine enough for now. But when it comes to contesting the point, Nesh taking out Shatter. So they've already missing one DPS, and they know how to capitalize on the mistake. Saini looking to answer back onto Meza. Nesh has still got this sight line. They're very aware of where he is. You can see they barely exposed themselves to Nesh's sight line. But still, the rest of Bazooka Puppies are cleaning up this fight. And now he's got someone in his face. Dempsey, maybe not enough with the Discord Orb. A spray down is all that Nesh needs.
I'm all for a bit of Sombra in my life, but sometimes I think it's time to call it quits and change things out here. Shatter, maybe go towards something like the Genji, because you need to get onto Nesh and bring him down. You've got the tools with Bembest and Saini to jump up there and 3-man him and get him off the map incredibly quickly. They're just sticking on this Sombra for so long. Maybe change it up next time, see how this attack goes, maybe go for the EMP play. Either way, they've got 80% to go.
Well, they're going to funnel themselves through a confined area, trying to avoid, but Nesh is repositioned to make sure he can always get an eye on them. And you can see him doing work. Bembest taken out already. Danye and Meta and Nesh and the rest of Young and Beautiful just fall apart to Bazooka Puppies.
Just a super clinical, clear wipe, really. As soon as you see the team push through, they've already burnt the defense matrix. The bubble has come out of the Winston. Once they're outside that bubble, well, it's hunting season for the Widow, and things are going to get cleaned up incredibly quickly. Gustav did switch over to the Lucio after the last fight, just to try and make it a bit easier for the team to engage, but they're still flailing when it comes to that final hurdle.
He's going to be using the Ambit up to try and speed boost them in, but really these tanks need to start applying pressure to Nesh. He's been given free roam at the moment. You can only hide for so long. Coalescence being used to guide the team out of that chokehold, but they're being forced back in. They're taking too much damage. The tanks have dived onto the back line, sound barrier, to reinforce their efforts and revigor them on their conquest. But Dempsey taking out Denia. There's the first pick they need. Danye answers back on the Bembest. An EMP coming out from Shadow should lock down the fight for Young and Beautiful. But the kill feed's still going back and forth. Danye will go down. He's been sprayed out by Dempsey on the Tracer duel. Young and Beautiful going to get control of the point.
The EMP probably not the most decisive moment of that fight, but a good start to it, but then getting in the back line on the high ground itself gave them access to the support line. They managed to shut down all of that support coming through for the defensive side of Bazooka Puppies, and they finally managed to get themselves a catch.
Nesh has returned to the old faithful angle, and immediately he's got Dempsey in his face trying to shut him down, and there's Bembest. Finally, they're diving onto the tag line with some extra freedom, and it shuts Nesh out of the fight. He's going to have to reposition to try and find something for Bembest. With that Primal Rage, throw in those hands, and nothing's connecting. So he's not able to get anything done. He's just deterring them from the point. Self-destruct right on top of the rock. He can play in and off the point. Danye, the only victim of it, but a D-Mech onto Meta as well. Nesh finally repositions, takes out Shada. Saini dealing with Meza. Forsaken comes back, gets the D-Mech, shuts down any further mobility from Saini, and there's the cleanup from Nesh. But he's one of the only remaining players. He's gonna have to stay on this point.
Yeah, it's a bit scrappy still. We spoke about this to be a bit of a dogfight. It's definitely turning into one of these fights being traded back and forth. Young and Beautiful hold strong for now, but shots like that make all the difference, and you need to deal with Nesh. This guy, he's being given so much freedom. He's standing in the open on the high ground, and no one is trying to dive on it.
Well, you've seen Dempsey try it a couple of times, but he just needs, it's so hard for a Tracer. You have to get to a high ground, then dash across. The Coalescence, it's come out, both of the Primal Rages. Meza gets the Gunga stop on the Bembest. Now they're trying to focus out Saini. Danye dancing around on the point. He's going to be one of the only people there with the rest of his team. Dempsey going low. Will get taken out by Forsaken. 68% and ticking.
And they can try and stagger the Lucio as best they can. Gustav just like, nope, peace, I am out of this one. Don't want to stay around for any more trouble. Thank you very much. Looking at the ults coming online for the Puppies, though, Nesh is about to get that vision back up once again. And once that's online, it's very difficult for Young and Beautiful to push in and maneuver in any creative ways. They will always know where they're coming from, and there it comes.
Infrasights, going to give him those wall hacks. Very difficult for Young and Beautiful. They know. Shatter finally changing over to the Genji. You got your wish, Des. Let's see whether he can get something done with this. 92%, so it's at the last inning that they try and pull this one out. Deflect to block any shots that come out. Dancing around the statue, the tanks move forward. Ding taking out Meza. Shatter gets to find someone, gets a backstab onto Danye, and it's going to be a clean takeout for Shatter. He dances around, but Nesh, nowhere to be seen. He's backed off altogether. Here's Young and Beautiful with control of the point with 10% left to go.
You summarized it perfectly there. As soon as Nesh saw 3 targets that could potentially dive on him, along with the Discord coming out of Ding, that could have been the big point for him, and he had to back away. With him down, this fight could be theirs to win.
5v6 is immediately returned by Meta as he takes out Ding. They're sitting in the middle of a Transcendence with the self-destruct available for D.Va to break up this fight even further. You see, there's their self-destruct coming out from Saini. Dislocates the fight. They're all on the point still. Ben Besh using the Primal Rage, knocking everyone around. The self-destruct goes up high. It's going to come straight back down. No one seems to fall victim to it. This Bazooka Puppiez with more bodies on the point. Saini's been demeched. Ben Best has to jump out, and he's run straight into Nesh, who's now on the Sombra himself. Gets the kill onto Ben Best. Hacks out Gustav. It's an easy pickup and an easy cleanup for Danye. This is going to be Bazooka Puppiez taking control of the point, hopefully, but Shatter, he wants to spoil those points. Goes in with a deflect. They hack onto Dempsey, and Danye takes out Shatter. There's only a Transcendence from Ding to keep the dreams alive for Young and Beautiful on this map. Here's Nesh. Gonna hack out. No more mobility for Ben Best. Can't jump onto the point. Can't get the reposition. Bazooka Puppiez take Ilios 2-0.
Great fun little hack from Nesh there to deny the jump coming in from Meza to get onto the point itself. Well, what can we say? Once they changed away from the Widow, the Sombra from Nesh also showing up and doing work as well. So again, showing that flexibility, showing the many facets of these teams. Still got to see a bit more, I think, quicker reflex times coming out of Young and Beautiful because they were so slow to adapt to that Widowmaker.
Sombra coming up in this series as well. I have a feeling it's not the last time we're going to be seeing her today at all. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we will bring you the second map of Young and Beautiful versus Bazooka Puppiez. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're here with map number 2, Bazooka Puppiez versus Young and Beautiful in the battle for survival in this season of Contenders.
And a big battle of survival so far. Definitely going the side of Puppies, you'd say, based on the flexibility in what they're trying to pick. They're adapting to the situation at hand. We saw Nesh get forced away by the dive coming through from the side of Young and Beautiful. Immediately comes back to the fight with the Sombra to try and shut down the Genji. That's the kind of stuff we need to see coming out of Young and Beautiful, I feel. As we head into the second map, it's going to be Numbani.
Yeah, Numbani's going to be the map. I think it's an interesting one for both of these teams to pick. Not certain of the records of the teams on this, but I'm sure I'll remember it at some point. But let's talk about the map itself. Who do you think this plays more into, Dez? Bazooka Puppiez or Young and Beautiful?
If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have purely pretty much said Bazooka Puppiez because of Danye's Pharah. And we see a lot of Pharah play coming through both on defense and attack on the first point. But lately, with the way things are going, in last week and this week, we're seeing a lot more Sombra, dare I say once again. She is going to become the name of the week. If you had like a word count of how many times a particular word was said on this cast, I guarantee you Sombra is probably up there near the top because we are going to see her a lot over the space of today.
A word cloud the size of Texas. for Sombra, unfortunately. Let's have a look at what's going to be run, though. Bazooka Puppiez, I can see them falling back onto this Soldier with Danye. It seems to be a go-to defensive pick for a lot of teams on Numbani point A. And of course, you always want to have some kind of flanking DPS in this meta. So Nesh on the Tracer, I wouldn't be mistaken by that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Soldier's been very, very popular on the high ground. Just hold that bridge down with your supports, keep yourself safe, tucked away, and if someone tries to aggress onto you, you can always drop back down into alley. We've seen some teams opt to go with the Lucio, others have chosen to go towards the Ana for things like the Nano-Visor combo, just to make sure you have that full clear potential there if you need it. These guys clearly favouring a lot more the sound barrier. Denia, we've already spoke about him earlier on the desk, saying that he is a big-time Lucio main, a big addition for this team and has done very well for them so far. Saini, didn't talk too much about him in the last map though. Didn't really, I wouldn't say not so much so stand out, but didn't have the big impact performance arrival that maybe we thought he would have.
He was far from a hindrance to his team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like
as a diva, it's hard to be a hindrance, right?
Very true with how powerful Diva is at the moment. Very serviceable is the word I would use at the moment. He's coming to the team. He seems to be meshing well. Like, the problem wasn't just one tank diving in to deal with Nesh on Ilios. It was both of them weren't. So at least he's playing with his tank line. That seems to be the most important thing coming out of this roster so far. Bazooka Puppiez, they're set up on the high ground. No surprises there. Young and Beautiful, they're starting to show what they're going to play. And Shadow's opted for that Pharah.
And with the Widow, this is a very interesting, almost double hybrid dive. You often see one of these, but definitely not both. I think here they're looking for the threat onto the Soldier with the Widowmaker. Shadow has some freedom. Last week against CIS, Shadow played the Soldier into a Pharah from CIS Hope and did very little. Maybe they're hoping the same's going to happen, but Bazooka Puppiez will be looking to Danye to do the work.
As expected, hiding around the corner, playing around the terrain on Pharah, very conscious of where the Soldier's going to be. Dempsey taking out Nesh already, so they're missing the flanker. Widowmaker already paying dividends for Young and Beautiful. The Shadow still going to reposition. Helix Rockets going to whish past his head. Nothing to hit them, and Young and Beautiful with control of the point to kick things off.
They might just have to sacrifice the whole thing here unless they come back in for a last-ditch attempt. Here they come actually from the stairwell.
Alternate angle. Still need to get bodies on the point. Meza joining the fight up onto the high ground with the support. Saini finding Denia, so they're missing one of the mobility and healers. Ding taking out Meza. And now the fight for the point continues as Dempsey's still got that high ground position. Gets the D-Mech with one little tap. Now he's looking for more. There he is on to Danye, but he's retreated behind cover. But because he's out of cover, no one's on the point. Taking the shots, Helix Rockets, gonna tag him, not gonna finish him off. And he's getting support from Winston to dive into the face and apply more pressure to the Soldier. Shadow taking out Nesh. He's got the barrage available. He really doesn't want to have to use it right here. And with the kills and the way his aim is being true, he's not going to have to do it. Meza takes out Best, but unfortunately, to cast the curse, he's going to use the solo barrage to make sure they get their ult. Maybe a little bit of an inefficient use, but fair enough. Shadow, you do you.
It's almost when he turns around and goes, I've had enough of these shields, man. Yeah. Bam, just blow straight through them. Who cares about shields being in the way when you've got tons of rockets being fired at your opponent? However, it was a pretty almost slow take for Young and Beautiful. It was definitely a very slow fight between the two teams, but eventually Young and Beautiful do prevail, do keep themselves in the fight. Never had to back away once, quite interestingly. They were always in the fight, despite that taking a good 2 minutes to finally get the point over. Here comes the dive, they switch over to the Genji. They'll be going for everything here.
Nesh with the Pulse Bomb, going to get the D-Mech. He's already lost 2 of his allies, so they're going to concede so much ground in the self-destruct. Just going to make sure the area of denial is even larger as Shadow clears up Nesh afterwards, so he's going to be joining them in the spawn room. And Ding, he's a bit of a Terminator himself this game, picking up multiple kills.
The day of the Zen has arrived, it feels like. They've got the ultimate.
Experience tranquility.
Experience death, it feels like, for most of the time. You'll be looking towards Shadow once again to get that blade online and go for another big dive. And we spoke a couple of times yesterday about these transition comps. Gustav still sticking on the Mercy. Bit of a surprise, expect that to switch over to a Lucio relatively soon, but for now he's going to stay on it.
There's the ultimate from Ding coming out, answered immediately by Forsaken, so they're dancing around Transcendence. Danye, he's got attack visor available, has to switch off a Shadow because of the deflect, but he's found both the supports in the Chaos. Now he's fighting the Raging Monkey coming straight for him. Now back off, I think that Primal Rage may be his end. One more punch, the Haymaker to send Danye home as he gets another kill, but Shadow goes to a Dragon Blade of his own, back out, save it for the next fight unless you truly believe you can win on this push.
Gustav switching over to the Lucio now. They're looking for that blade on the Shadow. They're going to go all in with these DPS, try maybe get an opening kill with the Pulse Bomb first, and then they're going to close things out. But that pick onto Nesh, that could be the trigger.
6v5, definitely an advantageous fight for Young and Beautiful if they carry on. Here's the Dragon Blade, misses the first slash, sound barrier, and a boot to knock him back and deny any further kills. And the self-destruct on the point will spread everyone far and wide. But really, Bazooka Puppiez need to stay on that point to stop the payload in motion as they enter the final stage of this map.
That sound barrier denied Shadow's blade, but it definitely created a lot of room because members had to fall back and play defensive. And Shadow once again switching over to another pick, going on to the Sombra this time. That's 3 heroes, 3 points, maybe 3 victories for them. Gonna see how this one plays out.
There's a hack onto Ben Best already, I believe. No, it's the health pack, sorry. It's got confused. He stood on top of it. Come on, guys, give me a pass on that one. But he's waiting around that corner. Meta and Meza on the tank lines. Gonna try on the front. Nesh drops down, immediately gets himself back out, playing around the terrain. That's what he needs to do here. But there's very much more bodies on the payload. Young and Beautiful keeping it moving. Self-destruct goes high after eating a pulse bomb. And Meza, who taken out? How did you fall for that? Bazooka Puppiez with 2 members alive. Make that one. Young and Beautiful, they're going to walk this in. What a huge ultimate from Saini in that fight.
That is one way to arrive on a roster and show that you are a great addition. I don't understand how. They see this flying through the sky. They're aware that it's come probably out of nowhere. They didn't expect it there. That's what made it so surprising. And that 4K is going to taste so sweet for him. Welcome to the roster, my friend.
To be fair, Des, we didn't expect it. We're like, oh, it's a self-destruct going up into the air, and suddenly kill feed lights up.
Yeah, when the pulse bomb went down, I thought, that's a bit of a panic ult there. Is he just throwing the mech away because he thinks it's going to die like any second later? Is he expecting like a Tracer to jump on him and get that last 200 HP off him, sorry? No, just throws it out, and for some reason there are 4 members of Bazooka Puppiez sat in very unfavorable positions, and down he goes.
Well, they've got themselves a nice and very strong time bank situation going on here. 3 minutes 37 left to play with, assuming that Bazooka Puppiez come in here and full cap themselves. So, Young and Beautiful, they may have lost the first map, but I don't think they want to go into the half with a 2-0 deficit.
And I'm not saying it's 100% causation, but look at what happened in that last round compared to what we were complimenting Bazooka Puppiez for on the first map. Adaptation, reacting to what picks were coming through. Shadow was pretty much responding all the time, changing his picks based on the point, based on what kind of area they were trying to play into. Second round was entirely based on the Genji. First round was the Pharah because they had the safety of the walls to hug to. Third round, the Sombra, they wanted to use it for the EMP to get behind and go for a full wipe with the self-destruct, as we saw in the last series earlier on today. Ultimately not needed though, because no EMP was required for Saint to secure those 4 kills. Young and Beautiful with a very healthy time bank coming into their defensive round.
Almost perfectly replicating what was brought out by Bazooka Puppiez. They're going to keep on that Tracer-Soldier duo on the high ground, but they're going to opt for the Tracer, the Zenyatta and the Mercy to keep him sustained. And obviously, you have that tank flexibility hiding on the opposite high ground to come in for a counter dive should Bazooka Puppiez aggress. Speaking of dive, that's exactly what they're going to go for on this one, Des.
Yeah, not too surprised to see that being the answer. We did mention Danye maybe going over towards the Pharah, but here, nope, he's just thinking, you know what? Full dive. We know we're expected to see the Soldier setup from Shadow once again. We saw it from them last week. Let's try and crack it with a full dive first and foremost.
They're going to be taking it up Main Street. We always expect it. Shadow, he's retreating back. Rather than fall into the alleyway, they've retreated into the interior. And the supports, they've got that cover. All it takes is a flanker to come up behind them, and it's bad news bears for that roster. They need to be careful, buying their time. The team's going to aggress onto them. Here comes the dive, straight onto the high ground. Immediate response from Ben Best. Shadow, he's fine. He's okay. He's got the 2 supports. He's going to turn around with a Helix rocket kill onto Danye. Now, reposition, open up the sight lines, take out Meza. Moving onto the back line. Now, Forsaken and Denia, they're in trouble. Needs to get those Helix rockets back. Go for the burst. Denia, he's got nowhere to go. He's got a Discord orb to deter him. He's still going to stay on this one. Forsaken and the secondary support going to fall back.
It's really nice how Shadow was kind of weaving very, very brief pauses into his spray patterns there as well, just to give him time to restabilize ever so slightly and get a new fresh spray pattern down. Very good tracking, great pick onto Danye very early on, just to make sure that that Genji was not going to give them too much grief. Bazooka Puppiez, though, I feel, will be looking towards the ult for Danye. Once that's online, that's their big win condition, so watch out whether Danye's ult comes online before Ding's ultimate does. Otherwise, this fight could end quite quickly.
Well, Ding forced out of the fight relatively early on by Shadow. This is the flank I was talking about for Nesh. Immediate reaction from Shadow to shut that down. Forsaken, having a bit of a duel with Dempsey, who's backed off. Pulse Bomb has gone out, but here's the high ground dive yet again. Nesh, here's the attack visor from Shadow. Finds one, gets the D-Mech, looking for more, but everyone else is hidden. They know what's coming. Meanwhile, Ding taking out Meta. Back on the point, he's got an angle on Forsaken. That's unlucky. He's trapped between a rock and a raging monkey, as he's not going to find anywhere to go.
For a rifle and a raging monkey in this case, and a bar behind him as well. So there's several weird mix of jokes in there that you could probably try and weave in. One thing that isn't a joke is Bazooka Puppiez' next combo coming through. They've got the sound barrier, they've got the blade. That's what they're looking to pull off, but Young and Beautiful have got hold of the Transcendence. If Ding dies early and doesn't pop that trans, this is lost for Young and Beautiful.
It's on Nesh and Danye to find a way to do that before blowing that Dragon Blade.
We've seen a few where Genji just basically press the shift in and suddenly the Zenyatta's just basically panic and press Q in an attempt to try and keep themselves alive, expecting the blade, and then it's that quick moment of, oh, they're not popping ultimate, we're dead.
They're in the high ground in a confined space.
Gone.
This could be big. Here comes the Dragon Blade. Gonna cut through Danye. Had a slice. He's not gonna be able to do much more. Dashes back in the last second to not get taken out by that self-destruct. Ben Best, though, he knew where his hiding hole was and jumped straight in afterwards.
Well, we said that ultimate from Ding was going to be the big winner for these guys, and sure enough, they lose it out. So maybe not the most impactful ultimate, you might say, coming out of Danye, but definitely did enough to secure that point for them.
Hacked to the tank, dashed away, hid for cover, and let a monkey run him down. I don't know if that's my ideal Friday night, shall we say.
No one's ideal Friday night, so it's not these guys. In this case, Sunday night. Monday night, sorry. I'm forgetting the days now.
Well, usually you have Monday night sporting events. We're here for Monday night esports, Des. It's Contenders Group B, and it's the final week. And Young and Beautiful, we've still got a lot to contend with against Bazooka Puppies, who are on the aggression. Tranquility coming out from Ding. Going to sustain the rest of the team, answered by Forsaken, so no Transcendence available. Sound barriers now. It's their time to rotate the skill in for Denia. Primal Rage being popped, Tac Visor by Shatter. No kills to be found, having to break through the shields, break through the armor, break through the HP. But Ben Best getting a kill onto Mesmer, and Shatter still retreating backwards. Cannot get any ground in this, but the rest of his team, they're looking like they can.
Big investments coming out of Young and Beautiful here. I think they've got 3 ultimates trying to make this work out for them, maybe 4 if you include Ben Best Primal, but Bazooka Puppies have only lost Meza, and they are still trying to push forwards.
Nesh with the Pulse Bomb takes Ben Best out, missing a tank for Young and Beautiful. Zany, he's going to have to be the front line for them. Getting a lot of attention from Nesh, who likes to hunt down these tanks and sometimes shift onto the back line. Discord Orb on him will deter him backwards, but the rest of Young and Beautiful, they've gone into full retreat and opened up this payload to be walked in by Young and Beautiful. Here comes Self-Destruct, they're being traded. Will anyone find anyone with the big bangs as Dempsey takes out Meza, so everyone's had to cower away in fear, won't risk the explosion. Payload still in motion. Danye gonna have to build up that Dragon Blade, try and get himself another huge ultimate. Gets a kill onto Ding. That should settle for now. Get into the face of Shadow, who already took down Nesh. Gonna deflect a lot of the bullets. He's buying time for a resurrection from Gustav to bring Ding back into the fray and recreate that Juggernaut 76 combination. While that's going on, Payload gets onto stage 3.
Shadow's like, nope, I'm out of here, not being staggered today. Thank you very, very much. Has the ultimate online, and already the time bank is in favor of Young and Beautiful. So for every second Bazooka Puppies take to finish this map, it's going in favor of Young and Beautiful.
They've already got less time to deal with when they come down to return, assuming they can get a capture on this and complete Numbani. So Young and Beautiful already have an edge in this particular map, where they can heap up this hold and go for a full hold and even remove the possibility of time bank. Still remains to be seen. Nesh, sitting on that pulse bomb, he's on the high ground. He's looking for some over-aggression from Young and Beautiful, potentially diving in. The support ultimate is available to shut down Danye, but here comes the pulse bomb. Gets the D-Mech onto Sani. That one pick should be enough. And Danye, he's got a blade available. They've got a huge advantage. Another double self-destruct from Mete. So Young and Beautiful are in disarray, but they're still managing to contest this point. It's Soldier. He's there with the biotic field, and they're trying to chase him off a bit. Discord Orb should make it easier for Danye to kill. Like I said, he's still sitting on that Dragon Blade, and Ding, he's going to have to play around that Transcendence.
It was a big risk from Shadow there, because if he died very quickly, that would have been a stagger in full effect. But because he died quite late on, when his team were already starting to respawn, they can hold this point before he comes back out. Ding has got that ultimate once again. You're looking to get that popped out before we see Danye whip out the blade.
No Transcendence or no Zenyatta available for Bazooka Puppies. Dempsey getting the first frag of the game, finding a D-Mech onto Meta, and now Shadow pushing forward with the rest of the Young and Beautiful lineup. The Bazooka Puppies, they can take the L on this one. They got plenty of time to play with, 2 minutes still to complete Numbani.
Well, like I said, every second, they're going to feel every second when it comes round to the switch over. That's if they even manage to complete the round. And look at the ults for Young and Beautiful here. 4 ultimates coming online, as opposed to the, you'd argue 4, maybe for Bazooka Puppies. Nesh, realistically, 2 or 3 shots. That ult is online. What's the real big difference maker, I think, here is going to be the Transcendence on either side, or looking towards those Diva self-destructs once again.
If Sani can come up huge for the 2nd time in a row at this particular point in the map, you can tell he's just a Diva god in this section. Danye having to retreat back from Ben Best, the monkey. Going to lightning his circuits and overcharge them. Transcendence has come out from Ding already. Danye still got the blade in reserve. This could be what they're looking for. Gustav hasn't got sound barrier yet, but guess what? Denia has. Danye going into the spawn. Shatter, he pops the tactical visor, has to get out. Sani comes back to take him out after D-Meching Mesa, but there's no tac visor available as Nesh trying to shut down Shatter. Gets it down, self-destruct comes out. Ben Best has found kills, so is Ding, so they force back Bazooka Puppies after they're able to collapse on Danye's aggression.
And 60 seconds remaining. You heard it sound out from the announcer. There isn't much more work to do for Young and Beautiful. Shadow going to change over to the Sombra for this final point. Probably not going to be able to get that attack visor up again for the next fight, but that EMP is a real possibility if he can get in the back line and be able to disrupt this attacking lineup from Bazooka Puppiez.
35 seconds and Nesh is already dueling with Dempsey. Forces him out. HP disparity too big to continue, and Nesh is now feeling the burn. It's come back onto him. They're fighting off on the skirmishes, but the rest of the team is on the point. Forsaken's there with Transcendence, giving an edge over to Bazooka Puppiez, but Ding still gets the D-Mech onto Meta. Danye building up the blade. He has a tank running at his face. There's a D-Mech already. Denya boops back Saini. He's the one who claims it. Ding taking out Danye, so there's no more Genji. The Terminator is in full effect. The hack denied. Nesh taking out Gustav. He's going to go around for seconds. He's found Shadow. Where's he going to relocate to? A couple more dings. Full clip onto Shadow. Takes him out of the fight. Bazooka Puppiez still have to walk this one in. They got one on the payload. Ding again from the side. Taking out Nesh, and a self-destruct from Meta should pull them away from the point. Ding will be a victim, and a D-Mech onto Saini. Here's Gustav. And there's also Saini back onto this Diva. They're still getting kills in the favor of Bazooka Puppiez. They're walking in overtime. Young and Beautiful, still staggered. Shadow can't get in there. They're coming back out. There's the EMP from Shadow. This might be the difference maker for Young and Beautiful. Another blade from Danye. He's been discorded. He's going to hide from there. He can't move around the point because he's too low. He's got nothing to do. Going to dash back out. Young and Beautiful are reclaiming this point. They're looking to end this one and take it to 1-1 at half-time. Ding getting another kill. Self-destruct from Saini onto the back line to cut them off the resources. Overtime whittles down, and Young and Beautiful take us to an even series at the half.
We said we were in for a dogfight. It's now 100% confirmed. This match is going all the way at this stage. 1-on-1 apiece. It's going to take until that fourth and final map, potentially the fifth. The guys on the desk were asking for it. Might find ourselves going there, but that was much better coming out of Young and Beautiful. Lots more flexibility, lots more coordination. Maybe a little sprinkling of luck there as well with Saini with the 4-kill, but that's the kind of impact that you want to have, and they get themselves the map.
I don't want to take it away from Saini by
saying
it was luck.
That was good.
It's very skillful, and it's an achievement to get in there, coming with a 4K, huge to secure the round, because who knows? If you didn't get that, maybe Bazooka Puppiez would be as good at stalling at that point as Young and Beautiful appeared to be. But Des, I'm so excited. We finally have a series. No more 4-0 stomps. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, our analysts are going to break down the half.